let's look at this prospect of a hung parliament. We know that's really what we're staring down the barrel of, and it could be a Labor Green minority government, and along with the Teals, they could become the kingmakers. I mean, that would be a disaster. The Greens have started already on a wish list. They want to see scrapped. And they've got Woodside's Northwest Shelf extension in WA. That's the first on the chopping block. Now, writing in The Australian, Woodside CEO Meg O'Neill, and she was very tough this week, lamented the prospect of a hung parliament. She said it would progress extreme ideology and that the Greens and Teals do not have a pragmatic, educated attitude to policy. But the reality is Labor needs to get on with approving this extension anyways. Here's what she had to say.
It's taken 6 years already. Now, it took the state government 6 years to go through all the appeals process, but it really is hard to understand why the Commonwealth Department of Environment needs more time, since they've had the same information for that whole 6 years.
Who'd want to be trying to run a mining company in this country? Environment editor with The Australian, Lloyd, joins us. Graham, welcome. Can you explain that project in the Northwest Shelf, how important, how big it is?
Yeah, good evening, Stephen. Well, certainly it is a major resource project for Australia. The Northwest Shelf was the first of the big export LNG projects to get underway. Its processing facilities there will be extended to take gas from other fields that are discovered offshore WA and pumped down to it. It has been a controversial process for the extension, both for environmental reasons and also for heritage concerns over petroglyphs and other things on shore. But what we're seeing from the federal government really is an inability to make a tough decision. Tanya Plibersek has a decision to make regards to heritage, but the real agenda of environment groups is to stop projects that are going to emit CO2 and greenhouse gas emissions. Tanya Plibersek should be able to make a decision very swiftly on this in the national interest, but she's dragging her feet.
Or you suspect, Graham, given there's 2 elections coming up in WA, state election next week and then the federal election, that maybe she's been told by Anthony Albanese or Cabinet or whoever, sit on your hands, don't make a decision against this project before an election because we don't want to lose seats in WA.
Well, we're seeing the same thing playing out in Tasmania over salmon farming. Certainly the federal government doesn't want to rock the boat here, but this is the wrong approach. I think they really need to put a stake in the ground and say what they do support, not be too scared to make a decision because of the advantage that their opponents may take.
You'd be very well aware of the policies of the Greens and the Teals. I mean, we've got WA Teal Kate Cheney. She's all over the place on this Woodside project. How disruptive to Australia's environment and its energy production would a minority Labor government dependent on Teals and Greens be?
Well, I think you saw the comments from the Woodside chief this week. The industry is very concerned about what the prospect of a hung parliament would be. The Greens have made absolutely no secret of the fact that their demand is for an end to new fossil fuel projects. And we're seeing that the Teals straying into the same area on this. If there is a hung parliament with those 2 groups, it's a deadly recipe for the fossil fuel industry, starting with gas and extending to coal, and it will be very difficult for a Labor minority government to manage.
Yeah, look, Victoria's already facing major shortages of gas. I mean, it's simply as we head toward winter, there could be situations, and this comes from, places like AEMO, that our energy grid could be under threat because we don't have enough gas.
That's right, and this is a situation that has unfolded over a long period of time, where the state government has been reluctant to take on minority pressure groups. They always thought that the gas would come from somewhere else, but those chickens are coming home to roost. Now they're looking frantically for ways to repair the situation, and extraordinarily that might include importing the gas from overseas. This is a state government issue where they're causing lots of problems for manufacturing, and it would be a tragedy to see that played out at a national level.
Just before you go, talking about production and what we make in Australia, Anthony Albanese is running around the country saying he supports Made in Australia. There's a crowd in Victoria, in Dandenong, Oceania Glass. It's going to shut down. Everyone working there is going to lose their jobs. They are in administration at the moment. Graham, I was absolutely staggered to find out that Oceania is the only place left in Australia that actually makes glass.
Yeah, extraordinary, isn't it? We're always talking about losing these heavy industries to overseas. Two factors at play: high energy costs and competition from Asia. This has been the story of Australian manufacturing, and really we're making every decision to make things tougher. It's glass today. It's possibly going to be other industry, including steel and aluminium, sometime in the future.
Crazy stuff, Graham. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thanks very much.